In continuation of the last video where I speak of cannabis, cognition, and autism, quantabasham, I would like to speak on the dark side of being autistic, the dark side of being a self-practitioner. Let's talk about the stigmatization of autism. Let's jump right into it. In the last video, I did refer that in the modern sense, in the surface level understanding sense, which is a spell, it's a lie, it's just to be under a lie to understand autism in the way that they advertise it to you as. It is basically generally mentally agreed upon that to be autistic is to be associated with idiocy. And this is a very malicious move on the part of Amalek, on part of the pharmaceutical industry, on part of Satan himself, on part of the demonic forces at play that go into these pharmaceutical corporations that make money off of the spell casting and diagnosis and mental imprisonment of their customers. These people walk around being constantly mocked by their peers and by the internet. If that wasn't even enough, they have to scroll past videos and people are using autistic as if it's an insult. And they basically are told in one way or another, I don't respect you, you're a fucking idiot, to most people in their life every single day. And why? Because they dare be a self-practitioner. These hyperfixations of hyper-categorizations are all symptoms of the actual dark side of being neurotic at play. When you wish to mentally imprison these people, to cast spiritual traps upon them at every turn, and you're placing stumbling blocks before the blind. You're doing this from a third-dimensional perspective. So you have to make these third-dimensional confines, these cubes or these boxes for the public to think in. And if you dare step outside or think outside of that, they want you to think that there's a void and there's nothing beyond it. Think of the firmament. They want you to think that there's just black expanse, it's dark matter, it's a void and there's nothing there. This is a lie. The heavens is a firmament above us. Through that firmament are the different tiers of the heavens of the fourth dimension. But this takes thinking that supersedes the dimension of a simple cube. You know that little wood toy thing, I guess it's to test cognition, to test accuracy and intelligence and pattern recognition in babies. They'll have the baby or the toddler put a square toy in the square hole, the circle toy in the circle hole, and the triangle toy in the triangle hole. That's not even a game, that's just a geometry quiz. That's like the first mathematics that we familiarize ourselves with as babies. We get familiarized with geometry because everything is geometry. What is geometry? A reflection of frequency. When you walk around and say if you are autistic in the sense where you're always joyous, you're always giddy and upbeat, you're outside the box for a lot of people. They see that and they're mad because you're happy. A lot of people who aren't self-practitioners, they feel powerless and they feel unintelligent because they are all these things. If you think with third-dimensional perspective, you are powerless. If you think with third-dimensional perspective, you are angry, you are miserable. Because how would you be able to see high frequency and meet that with the opposite of high frequency unless you are low frequency, because you aren't functioning to full capacity, because you want to think that you are just this body and not the spirit that encompasses it. So you don't do spiritual work, so therefore you starve yourself and you're unhappy. Happiness is objectively a higher frequency of cognition. If you do things out of fear, you will get bad results. This is a reflection of bad frequency. If you do things out of glee, out of cheer, you are just not going to get something that will reflect the opposite of that. It just makes no sense. If an artist is happy, you will hear that he is happy in his voice, on his frequency. You will hear his voice. On the frequency of his instrumental, you will hear how happy the beat is. This beat's almost sentient because it's just frequency that we can understand. If an artist is depressed and he's using a painting canvas medium, you will be able to tell what emotions that he was at least focusing on and not experiencing in the moment when he was making these strokes and these colors. Darker tones of blue, not as vibrant as lighter tones of orange or yellow. It's simple cognition, it's simple pattern recognition. This is why some people they attribute colors to numbers. Like I think a lot of people would say 1 would be red, 2 would be like blue or something of that nature. Is that not an autistic way of thinking about numbers or colors? An autistic person would definitely have hyper-categorize a letter by what color they think it is, or how it smells like, or what it would sound like. That's language, though. That's smells, though. We have genres of smells. We have perfume. We have cologne. We have genres of taste. We have flavor. We have savory. We have sweet, right? Genres of music. There's no reason to stigmatize this thinking. It helps with creation. Unfortunately, if you are imbalanced in terms of frequency of the spirit, if you are hypersensitive to something, this implies that you will be hypersensitive to something that is wicked as well. A lot of autistic people are actually into witchcraft. A lot of autistic people get really into Zohar, the Kabbalah, the dark arts, simply because they find it fascinating. And it doesn't help that this fascinating thing has a spiritual energy around it that acts like a portal or a portal, a black hole, which is basically just a portal. The black hole itself isn't even like a real thing. That's not like a real space thing. There's no space. A black hole is a portal. Ein Sof, for the sake of this video, I'm not going to pull any punches because it's about time that we grow up and prepare ourselves to be unclean so we can differentiate that from the clean. Ein Sof is basically like the void theory, the black hole shit. They want you to be familiarized with portals, but they don't want you to like see it for what it is, which is a fourth dimensional thing. There's no wormholes or black holes, it's just portals. So with that, energy itself, it gets bent and it becomes sucked in that focus point of where that portal is opening, right? So this portal is a door for a fourth dimensional entity to come into the third dimension, and vice versa. If you open portals in your mind through substances or rituals, or you invoke demons, you call upon them, you open this portal, you astral project, or you do kundalini breath exercises, all extremely unclean ways of gaining a type of spiritual power. It's like trend. Think of that like trend. Think of witchcraft like AI, or like the easy way out, or a cheat code, or like doing trin or steroids. You understand the guy who's autistic about his physique to the point where he's possessed with vanity and he thinks he's a scrawny fuck even though he's 250 pounds of solid muscle. That's not good enough for him. He needs to start doing steroids. He becomes this freak fucking monstrosity of acne scars and like varicose veins. He looks repulsive. And he thinks he looks cool, but he needs to still work on it. He knows that he's imperfect, but in the way to where he's perceiving his imperfections as small muscles, you think he has too much muscle. with autistic people, they're very sensitive. So if you are sensitive to vanity, if you are sensitive to the dark arts, and you hyperfixate on this, what's going to happen is you're going to have bad behavioral traits that can be boiled down to punching yourself in the face or screaming or being rowdy. I don't even have to like make some grand an analogy about that. Autistic people, you can tell they're severely autistic when they punch themselves in the face and they blurt out random nonsense. But it isn't random nonsense, it's a pattern of bad frequency that manifests itself in the third dimension. When you are neurotic about something and you make a fool out of yourself because you're operating from this silly, faulty belief system, you realize, oh yeah, when I punch myself in the nose because I'm pissed off, that hurts and my nose is bleeding. That indicates that I broke something. And if it's broken, that means it's the opposite of fully functional. That means your broken self is doing broken action to self-harm. If you refuse to put oil in the car will still run, but the car will just kill itself trying to run because it's not truly running. You're just pushing it beyond its limits. We don't get what we can't handle. And I know that sounds a lot like the old thing that Christians say, like if you tell them that you just lost your family in a fucking fire, oh, it's because Jesus has a plan for you. No, it's not cliche nonsense. We don't get what we can't handle. So the worst shit that could happen to you, oh, well, this happened to me, and you're still breathing, huh? You have at least 10 of your fingers, maybe 9. You're able to talk, so your cognition is all you needed. Even though, oh, you have PTSD, you are possessed with something, but this demon wouldn't fuck with you if you weren't worth being fucked with. You're being possessed for a reason. You lost a finger for a reason. Your family burned. It's not because Jesus has a better plan for you. That is a trialsome, tumultuous thing to have happen to you, right? If you were not spiritually ready or strong enough to have that happen to you, it would not have happened. Nothing happens without ordainment. So we can focus on the family being burned, you can focus on losing a finger, or you can say 9 fingers is all I needed. Oh, your family burned and that's horrible. They're burning no longer. They're all in a better place. That's also a thing they say. That's the less autistic way to go about situations like that, because if a person came to me, oh, I lost my family in a fire, am I going to be autistic and start blurting out why the fucking frequency of this individual caused the fire? No, that's more than what this guy can handle, because he's ruminating in his own autistic faulty belief systems of he needs to be depressed because his family died in the fire. Or he could be extremely grateful for life and live through this thing that happened and be thankful for life because his family died. He could see this as an opportunity to live for his family instead of killing himself because he got depressed. I'm not going to overwhelm this guy. I'm not going to overstimulate this guy with fucking vibration or frequency or the universal laws. I'm going to let him experience this emotion. I'm going to let these waters run. And when they subside, when they calm down, I can stir it. I can add my own frequency. I can toss my own stones in there, and I can send ripples. And these ripples can either be stifled by other overpowering frequencies that he will choose to pay attention to, or he can just let that one ripple create a huge wave of relief.